Isengrim Faoiltiarna, known by many as the Iron Wolf, was a legendary Scoia'tael commander. The bounty on his head was equally legendary, as apparently few elves had gotten under the human skin the way he had. It likely didn't help that his face was horribly deformed by a hideous scar stretching diagonally across his face, from his forehead to his cheek. He truly looked monstrous. Over the 4 years Isengrim had been at war with the northern humans, he had lost his own brother and 4 of his cousins. He had been an assassin and a spy for Nilfgaard. He had done all he could to aid their war efforts, leading the Vrijheid Brigade, the elves fighting on the side of Nilfgaard during the Second War, to plenty of victories. But that did not always go as smoothly as he'd liked. In the middle of the elven month of Blythe, June in the human tongue, Isengrim was contacted by Francesca Findabair. On her order, Rience, Vilgefortz's minion, joined his commando, and they set up a plan to attack Thanet and kill a certain set of mages. The plan was presented as having Emir's approval, and it did at the time. Isengrim was still somewhat suspicious, however, and was only persuaded when Cahir eventually made his appearance as well, carrying orders from the Emperor. Isengrim was to select a special squad from his commando, who would from then on answer only to Cahir. So they sailed to Thanet, using Rience's amulets to surround the ship in fog so they could sail into the caverns beneath the island unseen. From there, they proceeded to the catacombs under Garstang, and when they left them through the trapdoor opened by Francesca, the fighting began immediately. Initially, they were successful, but soon enough they started taking heavy casualties themselves. Once Francesca teleported out of the battle, Isengrim took that as a signal to retreat. However, Cahir's team had not yet returned, and although Isengrim had meant to wait for them, he decided to look for them himself when they took too long to show themselves. They found Cahir, half dead in the middle of his full dead group of elves. Knowing that Cahir could not fall into the hands of their enemies, lest the North realize that this battle had been started by Nilfgaard, Isengrim dragged him to the boat and sailed off with what was left of his commando, only 12 elves. He decided to rebuild his commando as quickly as he could to resume the fighting, but it wasn't long until an imperial order came to deliver Cahir to a secret location where he would be collected. Isengrim was quite surprised, to say the least, but as these were human affairs, he did not think on it too long. He made the arrangements without much trouble, ordering Cahir placed in a coffin and delivered to the dead drop through a hawker, a smuggler working with the elves. Unfortunately, not all goes well. The Nilfgaardians sent to collect Cahir run into Geralt and Dandelion, who cut the men down, allowing Cahir to escape. Of course, Nilfgaard isn't best pleased with that turn of events, Emir assuming that Isengrim had betrayed him as well. And so, they sent a squad of agents out to capture Isengrim, drag him to Nastrok Castle in Verdun, and interrogate him through any means necessary. But Isengrim wasn't born yesterday. When he is invited to a secret meeting where he was to come alone, one of his informants told him that it was a trap, which caused Isengrim to show up a little early to that secret meeting, and he most certainly wasn't alone. Their trap had failed, and Isengrim caught the spy sent to capture him. After threatening to tie him on an anthill covered in honey, the man was extremely talkative rather quickly. So, to dissuade Emir from sending another team of spies after him, he told the spy what had really happened. I trust that neither Lord Rideau nor Stefan Skellen will want to set any more traps for me. The Dwan have been trying to capture and kill me for a long, long time, so I have adopted the custom of ruthless extermination of all trap setters. I shall not, in the future, investigate to check if one of the trap setters is, by chance, a subordinate of Vache or Skellen. I do not have the time nor the desire to make such an investigation. Do I make myself clear? Strauchen nodded and swallowed. Now take a horse, spy, and get the hell out of my forest! Eventually, during the Battle of Brenna, Isengrim is also present, alongside the rest of the Vrijheid Brigade, as their commander, of course. They would sneak behind enemy lines, attacking from the back. They did not discriminate in targets, even attacking hospital tents. Unfortunately, for not just Isengrim, but the entirety of the Scoia'tael, Nilfgaard lost the war. In the end, the elves were made to be the Empire's scapegoats. They were sold out to the north as a peace offering, although they did ensure that only the commanders of the Scoia'tael units were arrested. They had been promised fair trials, of course, but that was never to happen, and they knew that. However, when he and several others were dragged out of the hangman's line to be beaten a little more severely, he saw a chance to escape. He had been working on his manacles clasp for 2 days and nights, and now they fell off his wrists. He knocked both of his guards down with his chains and then kicked a third one in the face. Eventually, he managed to jump into the nearby water, almost drowning because of the chains he still wore. He eventually got away, however, and started his way towards Zeracania, a way to freedom of some kind. On the way there, he followed another fleeing his fate, called Boreas Mun. He was not the only one to follow, of course. Dijkstra was there too, and so the three of them decided to sit down together and eventually travel onwards as a group. 3 refugees fleeing from their hunters. "The world has changed," said the pilgrim. "Something has ended. I am Siggy Reuven. Something is beginning." The elf twisted his ravaged face into something that, according to all evidence, was a smile. "I am Wolf Isengrim." They shook hands, quickly, firmly, downright violently. For a moment, it looked more like the preliminaries to a fight than a gesture of reconciliation. But only for a moment. The log in the campfire shot out sparks, celebrating the event with a joyful firework. "God strike me down," Boreas Mun smiled broadly, "if this isn't the start of a beautiful friendship."
I'm sure you're not surprised, but we're not doing skits at the end cards today either. I am so sorry. My Patreons are getting titles today. I hope you appreciate those too. Walguy the Illustrious, Robertson the Enlightened, Lochmoin the Fierce, MJ Coolsta the Impressive, Septic the Cattist, Mike Zweers the Unrelenting, Adrian Packle the Impeccable, Ray the Fortuitous, Freeman the Wise,